You've probably heard it 100 times. You just need balance. As if the answer to your stress, your exhaustion, and your ambition is just to manage things perfectly. Easy enough, right? And here's the thing. Balance is real. It's not a lie, but it's not always the goal. There are seasons in life where balance is absolutely obtainable, where everything fits together perfectly. Your health feels steady, your relationships feel connected, and your work feels meaningful. But then there are other seasons, and you know what I'm talking about here. Those seasons in life where something inside of you says, I need to go all in right now. And that's okay. That's human. See, the problem isn't that we lose balance. It's that we expect it to exist all the time. We've been sold this image that a healthy life means that you're always perfectly evenly distributed, like a perfectly divided pie chart of health, career, relationships, and rest. But oftentimes that's not how real growth looks. When you're building something meaningful, a business that gives you financial freedom, a body and physique that you're incredibly proud of, or inner peace after years of chaos or trauma, balance oftentimes isn't the starting point. It's the reward, or at least better said, it's farther down the line. So if you need permission for this, let me give that to you right now, and I'll explain why. You might not need to be balanced right now, but you do need to be intentional. If this is your season to build, if this is your season to heal, if this is your season to slow down and integrate everything that you've been learning, do that unapologetically. The guilt we feel for being out of balance is often the very thing that breaks our focus. We think we're failing when in reality, we're just in a season. There is a very important concept that you really need to hear that I'm about to get to. But before that, I need to say, I think we have confused balance with peace. Peace doesn't always come from spreading yourself evenly. It comes from being aligned with what matters right now. Alignment is so incredibly important. I actually just released a video on it. You should really watch it. A good example is to think about this as training. If you're trying to get stronger, you don't train every muscle equally every day. You very intentionally tear down a muscle so you can rebuild it stronger. You let it recover, and then you move on to the next one. That's not imbalance. That's progress. The same thing applies to your life. There are times in your life where it's okay to be unbalanced. That's how mastery happens. The real danger isn't going all in, it's in staying stuck there. To simplify this, let's break this down into seasons. Let's talk about the first type, the build season. This is where your energy goes toward expansion, whether that's your career, your body, your business, learning, mastery. It's intense. It can be uncomfortable. You're probably sleeping a little less. You're thinking a lot more, and you're constantly stretching your capacity. And yes, this can feel chaotic at times. But the difference between growth and burnout is awareness. When you enter this season intentionally, you expect it to feel heavier, and you're aligned with the purpose. You set boundaries around it. You know it's not forever. But when you accidentally stay there, that's when your nervous system starts to pay the price. Your mood shifts. You start to feel numb or bitter. Your sleep quality drops. You start to feel that wired but tired, like high output, low fulfillment state. That's not growth. That is depletion. Don't let some discipline hustle culture guru tell you otherwise. Now, let's talk about the next phase or season. Let's call it the integration season. This is where you take all the things that you've been building and let them settle. You simplify, you reflect, you breathe. These are very important steps. Most people skip this part. They go from project to project, idea to idea, without ever giving their brain or their body time to absorb any of it. Not only is this drastically affecting your mastery of the skill that you originally intended to get good at, you're also setting yourself up for misery and burnout. Integration is where the wisdom happens. It's where the lessons stick. It's when the nervous system starts to recalibrate and integrate, and your focus can reset a little. This is what allows balance to start to emerge naturally without trying to force it. To simplify this and get this out of philosophical terms, this is where you're starting to back off a little bit and try to integrate your current level of mastery and skill into your life. What I'm saying is take the systems that you've built in your build season, and now that you're much more proficient and efficient at them, try to hone those into daily life. Even more simply put, refine the systems. This is the time where, using our fitness example, if you were going to the gym 6 days a week and lifting for an hour and a half every single day to try to achieve your dream physique, you're learning how to do that 4 days a week in 45 minutes to an hour. Call it dipping your toe in the pool of balance. So then you can move into the maintenance season. This is where you learn to coast with the systems that you've built. You're not pushing for PRs, but you're preserving your clarity and your purpose. You are continuing to act out of alignment. You're staying sharp, but you're not constantly sprinting. You build enough rhythm and structure that you can actually live. Now, the point isn't to live in any one of these seasons forever. The point is to learn how to move through them intentionally. Build, integrate, maintain, and if necessary, repeat, whether that's for the same purpose or a different one. That's how balance can often look. Not a static state, but living in rhythm. Here's what I don't hear anyone saying. You can't schedule balance in a chaotic life. You can only create it through rhythm. Every time you force balance, what you're really doing is you're splitting your energy. If you're trying to grow your business, train harder, reconnect with family, or heal emotionally all at once, you're not balanced. You're just divided. And before any of you take this incredibly literally, it doesn't mean that you can't do all of those things. It just means that you're probably not going to master a single one if you're doing it that way. And if you are working hard enough at those things to truly master them, all at once, you sure as heck are not balanced. I say this time and time again. A divided mind burns energy faster than anything else. Instead of doing everything halfway, do one thing fully for a defined season. That is how your capacity grows. Because the more capacity that you build, the easier it becomes later. Let me give you a really good example of this. Your nervous system doesn't lie. It knows when you're out of sync. If you wake up already tired, if your mind is racing, even when you're resting, that's your body saying, hey bud, wrong season. This is where your alignment meets your physiology. Your nervous system can handle the intensity, but it can't handle the confusion. When you stop fighting the season that you're in and you live with alignment, your body relaxes. Your focus can sharpen and your energy can stabilize. That's when you start to feel the balance, not because you forced it, but because you earned it. Now, let me give you the best example that I can. For me, this hit hardest in medical school. Who would have thought? There's no such thing as balance in medical school. It was study, work, sleep, repeat. Then I added on content creation and I took it very seriously. In fact, I gained my first 100,000 subscribers in medical school. Then I added on an MBA while I was in medical school. There were times where I was working until 2 a.m. and then getting up at 5:30 to go into the OR. I used to feel really guilty about this until I realized this was my build season. The imbalance was the point. And this is a bit of an extreme example, I'm aware. I'm really not telling you to try to load your plate up like that. Now, I will say, I didn't pivot fast enough. I stayed in that grind mode for too long. And that's when my body started to show the signs. Low energy, irritability, creative burnout. I actually passed out at work one day. That's when I learned how to shift seasons. You don't have to burn out to learn that lesson. You just have to start noticing when your energy stops matching your intention. Again, alignment. Now, I always try to be respectful of your time, so I'm going to wrap it up here, but you do need to hear this. The most underrated skill in performance might be transitioning. The ability to move between focus and rest, intensity and stillness, doing and being. High performers don't stay on all the time. They just know how to switch faster, and they know how to shift without guilt. When you master your transitions, you master your rhythm, and rhythm is balance. So no, you don't always need perfect balance, but you do need clarity about your season. You need to know when to go all in and when to pull back. You need to know when to push your limits and when to protect your peace. Balance doesn't always have to be the goal, but presence is. Because when you're fully in the season you're meant to be in, it feels like balance, even if from the outside it might not look like it. And if you want to learn how to actually design those seasons, how to build a life that feels sharp, peaceful, and purpose-driven, that's exactly what I wrote in my book, From Dull to Doctor. This is how I train my brain and body to thrive from a place where I certainly wasn't. It's not about more routines or hacks. It's about rewiring your brain and your body to perform when it matters and to rest when it's time. It's detailed, it's science-backed, but what most people say is they feel like it's amazing advice that's coming from a friend. It's the blueprint that I wish I had years ago, and it's how I stay grounded, even when life gets a little bit chaotic. I'll link in the top of the description. You can grab it there, and I promise it will change how you approach performance forever. So if you've been beating yourself up about not being perfectly balanced, or if you feel burned out attempting to achieve it, stop. You are not broken. You're just in a season. My only disclaimer is to spend some time figuring out what you want out of that season. Own it and live it fully. When it's time to shift, that is how balance works, probably. If you enjoyed this video, if you think that you got value out of it, please drop a like and please subscribe. I drop amazing videos like this every week, sometimes twice a week. If you have someone that you think would benefit from this, which I'm sure you do, share the video with them. It's completely free, and it's the least that you could do to help someone. Like I said, if you want a more detailed guide, grab my book. It's in the top of the description. I really do believe it can change your life. Drop a comment telling me what season you're in right now, or what you want to see next, or your thoughts on the video. It all helps. And as always, I'm Dr. Matt Jones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.